Okay, cool. So we are officially recording. Hello and welcome everyone to day two. And the focus obviously of today is going through a variety of project pitches. Um, and make sure that you do sort of watch the previous video and get through course requirements. Here's a few quick links for you. So in terms of syllabus and just all the administrative details. Um, at this point also, you should all be marked as active on RCOS.io. And the I there is Wes filled that in. So Wes should be marking attendance for earlier in the week based on your status today and, being marked as active there. You should also be on Discord. So make sure you're joining or in the Discord or on the Discord server. I got to get the right lingo down. And you should at least be in these following channels here. And as it states at the bottom, anything that we get out there, anything posted to these channels does count as being distributed. So get notifications going for these, whatever it takes to stay on top of those. And then also double check, this is where I come in on the administrative side, double check that you have everything in terms of SIS registration. You should all be registered for RCOS appropriately. If not, just reach out to me via email. And also you should be able to log into Submiti. So Submiti should be active now and everyone should be loaded up automatically, through the auto feed that we have set up there. So if you don't see Submiti, also reach out and we'll get that figured. And I know you've already seen this day one, but obviously we're in this first initial project definition phase. And so through the end of next week, you'll be, coming up with or determining which project you want to really work on this summer semester. And some of those dates are outlined here. So most of the pitches we'll see today, but a few will certainly be next Tuesday as well. And as you can see, next Friday, I want you to commit to some project that you're going to work on. And also by June 11th and following Friday, we want you to give us a proposal for that project. Next class, as I mentioned, we will have a few more pitches. And you can sort of sift through the details here as to what else for next class, but essentially just, determining which project you're going to be working on. All right. Also for mentors, start thinking about what kinds of workshops you want to give, and that'll be due the details by June 11th. And if you're interested in mentoring this summer semester or want to recommend someone, there's a link you can use to do that. So finally, or I guess very quickly, I will stop sharing. We can switch over to Evan with the pitch slides.
There we go. Now I'm unmuted. Hopefully everyone can hear me well. So I'm going to kind of MC the pitch slides. We're going to be moving through looking at a lot of really exciting projects. Hopefully they'll tantalize you and make you want to join. Nia, I might have you chime in really quickly. You've created some on the Discord project pairing channels, and those are for the students to jump in and kind of get connected, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So every slide here and the two slides from Tuesday, there are all channels under I believe it's the project pairing category. And if something catches your attention and you want to either ask the person who pitched more questions or ask to be on their team, reach out to them there and they should get back to you.
Perfect. And so as we get going, if you're a presenter, you all have awesome projects for all of our students to look at. We'll ask you to keep it down to a 2 or 3 minutes of pitching, just so that we can get through everybody. So condensed down to a good, selling pitch. It'll let me move forward. Perfect. So we'll start with some of our external projects. And our first one will be Nia talking to us about Elephant ID. So Nia, if you want to get going.
Hi everyone, my name is Neha. I'm a CS major here at RPI, and I'm going to be talking about the Elephant ID project. So, share my screen. To see. This elephant over here is named Boz. Boz is an elephant that lives in Kenya in an area called the Masai Mara. This elephant here is Pothole. Pothole also lives in the same place in Kenya. I identified two of these elephants, but what elephant is this third picture, and which elephant is that? Feel free to, if you have an answer, put it in the chat. So we can tell based on the curvature of the ear, like the third elephant's ear is pretty smooth, whereas like Pothole's right ear is kind of jagged with a little curve there. And we can't really see Boz's right ear, so we don't actually know which, if it technically is Boz or not, but in a small data set of two elephants, we can be pretty sure. So this is basically the like the whole goal of the Elephant Book project, systems of elephant re-identification. So Elephant Book is an external project that's already being implemented by a team in Caltech and a team in Kenya. So our project for this summer in RCOS will be a really small subset of the entire elephant identification system. Also, Professor Stewart is here, and he'll be the advisor from the RPI side of the project. So, very unfortunately, there are poachers trying to kill elephants to try to for their tusks. So the elephant population in Africa is being threatened. The best way to try to protect the elephants is to monitor them, which is what Elephant Book, the project, is working on right now. So here is what the workflow for the Elephant Book project is like. There's quite some detail, but basically what it is that park rangers in Kenya will take pictures of elephant sightings in that area, and they'll upload all of those pictures onto the website, and then the website will use computer vision to try to automatically detect the identity of each elephant that was spotted. And then after that comes the matching interface, which is the part that we'll be working on during RCOS. So using the matching interface, rangers, the people who took the pictures, will be able to confirm that the computer vision software got it right. So this is our task in RCOS for this summer, will be to improve the matching interface. So what's currently on the Elephant Book website is kind of slow and clunky. Like, for example, if you wanted to compare two elephants, you'll need to open pictures of both of them in a new tab and then try to switch back and forth, which is just super inefficient. And then our job is to basically make it look nicer and add some functionality as well, which you can see there, like having images side by side and being able to zoom in and out on specific details there. So in order to get this project up and running, we're looking for a few people who are already experienced in user interface design, and people who are familiar with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Typically looking for experienced people because we want to get this up and running as soon as possible. Yeah, so that's basically it for the my pitch. I skipped quite a few technical details, but if you're interested in this project at all, or if you want to join, please contact me. My info is up there, my email and Discord. So yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you so much. Moving on to our next presentation, and remember that if you want to get in contact, there are all of those project pairing channels inside of the Discord. But next up, Steve Huss is going to be telling us about Open Energy Dashboard.
Hi, I'm Steve. Should I share my screen to get my slides, or?
Yeah, absolutely, if you can.
Sorry, you guys is coming so fast. Trying to get it to do this. It doesn't want to let me do it. Let me try this. Sorry about this. Is there any way you can do it? It's insisting I restart everything to share, or do you want to move me down on the list so I can do this?
Second, where can I find those slides?
Or would you rather just move me down a little bit and then I can get this all worked out?
Sure, and we'll back up to you. We'll do you next if that's
Okay.
all right.
I'll fix my preferences. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries at all. So let me share my screen again. So it looks like our next one up will be automatic door control, which Mallory Gaspard will be telling us a little bit about today. Mallory, are you all set?
Yeah, you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me unshare real quick.
Cool beans. All right. Okay, can everyone see this okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, cool. So, hey, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mallory Gaspard. I graduated from RPI in 2018, left in 2019. And so I am pitching a restart of the automatic door control project, which was originally started in RCOS back in the spring of 2018. On behalf of myself and my other project leader, Jingwei Li, who is also an RPI alum and will be co-mentoring this project as well. So basically, the goal of the automatic door control project is we want to develop a mobile application. So on both iOS and Android and the corresponding hardware to retrofit automatic door openers to allow users with both temporary and permanent disabilities to remotely open doors on campus. So some of the semester goals for the summer is like, really thinking about getting this project restarted since it was unfortunately kind of put on hold once COVID happened. We are hoping to have printed circuit boards done. So I guess let me just take a brief step back to inform people of what's been done. We have an iOS app that is on the App Store already. We have a website that hopefully we can get working with RCS ID for like RPI authentication on campus for people to log in with their credentials. And we do have prototype working tested hardware with that interfaces with the iOS app. So we're really looking to package this hardware up really nicely, hopefully this summer, and get that Android version of the app off the ground. So we're really looking for people. Ideally, we'd love to have someone who has experience with Android development to work with Jingwei Li to match the Android app with the iOS app and get that working and get that looking nice. Someone who has hardware experience, who's interested in kind of taking the PCB designs that we have now and packaging it up nicely, getting those PCBs printed and making it look really good. And we're also really looking for people who are interested in the advocacy side, learning about establishing relationships with, disability services, public safety, FIX, all of these people that we need to be communicating with to deploy this on campus. I am no longer at RPI, obviously, and neither is Jingwei. So we are now very disconnected from the day-to-day, and we would love to have like people on the ground helping facilitate those connections. And so it should be very fun, very exciting. It's a project with an exciting history. It's been recognized by Red Hat. It's seen a lot of fun and success and had awesome people work on it through the years. So if you're interested in getting involved in this project, definitely reach out to me via email. My email is down here, or Jingwei, or feel free to hit me up on Discord, and also check out our website too if you'd like to learn more. So hope to talk to you soon. All right, thanks.
Awesome, great pitch. Let's see, where are we now? Steve, how's it going? You ready, or am I to proceed to the next one?
I think it says I can share now, so I hope it works.
Perfect. Okay, give it a shot.
Okay, let's see if it'll let me open. I don't know. Are you
It works.
seeing my? Are you seeing
Yep.
my slides? Yes.
We're seeing your
We're
Discord.
seeing
Yeah.
your email or something.
Discord, it
Slack.
looks like.
Discord or something.
That's not so good. Sorry, let me see if I can get it back. Sorry, I have not ever used this to share before. I'm sorry for my problems now. But it's sharing. Okay. Why don't you skip me? I'll work on this and try and get it
Sure,
up
I'll
for you,
double check
okay?
you in a couple more. Sounds good.
Sorry about this.
No, don't worry at all. WebEx is not the simplest thing in the world to share with. They, all the icons are so tiny. Okay, so it looks like next up we're going to go to Matthew Gant for some information about MPAC electronic music. Matthew, are you around?
Sure. Thanks, all. Just want to make sure, can everyone hear me okay? My audio is a little quiet from my end.
Yes.
Great. Okay, and let's see if I can share. So I might be in good company here. Let's get the screen share going. Hopefully. Share screen 1. Okay. And so I'm going to do a very similar dance here. Present. Great. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Awesome. Hey all, my name is Matthew Gant. I'm really excited to meet you all. Thank you for having me here. I'm a second-year PhD student in the Electronic Arts department here. I do a lot of work with kind of experimental music, spatial sound, virtual reality. The project I'm proposing is that we work together to build some new systems for creating experimental performance, music, sound installation, artworks in WebVR, shared virtual reality environments. So I imagine some of you all might have seen some of this, but if not, some very broad context. Over the last kind of 4 or 5 years, there's been these new web-based, typically Java 3.js, HTML encoded JavaScript platforms for creating these cross-platform immersive environments just in the browser with no software. And what's great about this works with the virtual reality headset, it works with the smartphone, it works with a computer, kind of playing it sort of video game style. And what I've been doing a lot of during the pandemic is actually using these platforms to create either virtual concert environments where we can do performances, different sort of sound installations, different experimental kind of artworks. And one of the exciting things, I imagine probably a lot of us have seen some kind of, Zoom concerts or things like that. But what's really exciting to me as a composer, and hopefully maybe to some of us as well, is sort of the creative opportunities that allows us here, not just watching someone, a live stream of someone playing guitar in their living room, but really thinking about space and virtual environments, kind of a creative medium. It's I'm not. Pulse was before. I just saw that coming in the chat. Pulse was before my time, but everything I've heard has been really amazing. It seems like there's some really great through lines there. But one of the things I'm proposing, I want to talk about kind of the specifics of this, is actually taking some of these open source platforms and adding some functionality to it. So just to give you a little quick context, I'm really interested in, what music can we only make in VR? And these are just some concerts, just to give you a little context. These are some ones we've done with a performer in Vienna and audiences all around. A friend in New York City, she did this amazing performance where everyone's there as avatars, and she did this live stream of these birds from the outside her window in the apartment in Brooklyn as she played theremin. Very sound installations. You could walk around, hear different sounds as you explore. Here's actually, speaking of, here's a piece I actually just did while in residence at MPAC a few months back, where we made the spatial sound and made these 3D environments from the MPAC studio and transposed it to VR. Okay, but enough of my hat. I'm going to give you something specific as far as what I'm suggesting we'd actually do. So there's 2 platforms that work really well for this. One is A-Frame. Some of you might have seen it. It's all open source. It's all HTML with nested JavaScript that actually gives you abstractions of the 3.js underlying it. The other is Mozilla Hubs, which is built on A-Frame, but does a lot of really amazing legwork as far as building environments, as far as publishing or hosting the scenes and sharing them and doing the kind of avatar. So as everyone joins, you kind of can make a customized avatar and speak to each other, etc. So what I suggest is we work off one of these two platforms, either A-Frame, which is a little simpler, but has less kind of social affordances, versus Mozilla Hubs, which has these really amazing kind of social affordances, but has a lot more kind of tangle of code in the code base already. It also gives this nice GUI editor. But so I suggest, as far as our platform, is that we make a fork of one of these, or just a code base for A-Frame, and add kind of two categories of functionality. And I think there's a lot, for whoever's interested, I think there's a lot of different directions we could go with this. But the two that I think could be both really doable and I think really satisfying, and I think there's a need for a creative need for this among the community working with this. One would be actually adding MIDI or OSC support. So say if you're doing a performance, you actually have Ableton, maybe you have a synthesizer in your studio at home, your living room, something like Pro Tools, you could actually send OSC or MIDI to the virtual reality website online. In the same way you might sequence a drum machine, you'd actually move things in virtual reality. You could do a virtual light show. You could actually do some sort of sculpture that can move. You could actually change the virtual environment as a performance. The other one is a more robust audio interface. So maybe you could have a virtual surround sound system. Maybe you could actually perform, if you have a band, if you have an electronic situation, actually streaming audio into different parts of these shared environments. There's a lot of other things too we could talk about, making instruments, different interactive situations, etc. But just to give you kind of a brass tacks of what that would look like, sort of two use cases I can see, although I think there's a bunch of them. I'm not sure if y'all can see my mouse, but this is a very kind of overly cutesy kind of arrangement. So this is sort of the virtual environment, various avatars, a performer, and then actually creating a pipeline where over here you could actually have OSC, so you're actually manipulating, you're performing the environment itself, and then a pipeline where you can actually stream audio in and out of these environments. The other one would be more kind of an installation, like if anyone's ever gone to like a sculpture show or some sort of kind of sound installation, where you can actually make these various 3D environments and manipulate them. You could actually perform them if you have a MIDI controller, different knobs, different sliders, and actually perform the environment. I think what's really exciting about that creatively is that there's this history that you can draw from, but technologically, I think it's a way we can actually take a lot of affordances that are actually already there in the code, but haven't really been made available because I don't think a lot of people have connected the dots creatively or conceptually. So I think this is something we can really build. And also, sorry, I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time, but just to give a quick summation. Also, just in context of that sculpture, this is a piece I did prior where actually you have these different 3D objects and each one of these made a sound. And I think we could really build on that approach. Anyway, sorry, to give you a little more brass tacks. What I think we really need to make this happen are JavaScript is the main one. JavaScript, there's a few libraries. 3JS lets you render WebGL directly in the browser. Node would be another one as far as connection. General HTML is great. And just an interest in experimental art or music or sound. From my end, my background is as a composer, virtual reality developer. I'm very strong with Maximus P, a lot of music production software, and a lot of sort of kind of the interface design and sort of systems that we could draw from conceptually, and a lot of MIDI and OSC or open sound control stuff. There's also, and I'll make sure you all have access to these slides, but the exciting thing too is that there's a lot of libraries out there. So we wouldn't be starting from scratch. Of course, Mozilla Hubs and A-Frame are all open source. And there's been some preliminary work with adding MIDI or OSC functionality that aren't fleshed out, which we'd be adding, but we would have a lot to draw from. I think the development of this would pretty much be, we would choose a lane. We'd either look at A-Frame or Hubs, the different kind of pros and cons of each. If there's enough of us, maybe we could look at dividing up into different functionality. If not, we'd all do it together. Sort of make some proof of concepts, implement it, and then of course add it back to the code base. And maybe host it and then, throw a party in virtual reality, kind of present some of this stuff and give it back to the community. But otherwise, thank you all for coming to my TED Talk, as it were. This is my email. And I'm sorry I've been slow to actually get the slides up on the Discord, but I'll follow up with you all as soon as we get done with this meeting and make sure you have access.
That's just fine.
So
We'll make sure those are all hosted for you. Yeah. Perfect. So next up, we have the League of Extraordinary ForgeVTT Developers. Anthony and Cody, are you here?
Thank you. So one correction, it's the League of Extraordinary Foundry VTT Developers, but that is a common mistake. It's just very, very funny that because there is a ForgeVTT as well. So we don't want to misrepresent ourselves there.
All right, we'll get that updated for sure.
That's okay. Okay, can you see slides?
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay. Hi, I'm Anthony Ronda, class of 2013, and I'm here on behalf of the League of Extraordinary Foundry VTT Developers. We are a dev community making open source packages for Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Oh, wait, that's the wrong. Okay, there we go. Are we all the way to the top? So if you know some, oops, it's going to start. No, it's not. So if you know some JavaScript and you like Dungeons and Dragons or other tabletop games, join in. The Foundry platform recreates the social experience of face-to-face games virtually. So this is almost like I was smiling to myself on Matt's presentation because virtual telepresence in a different form, in another playful form perhaps, has been on my mind and has been very important to lots of us in the last year, and it's fun to develop for. So, it's going to start. I don't want it to start. There we go. So all the GIFs that you see on the screen right now are captured from open source modules created in the last month by members of our community. One of them is enabling someone to all be playing Dungeons and Dragons on either a common screen or surface, while some people are using their phones in order to get the stuff that's personal information to them on a separate device. One of them is sequencing special effects to create essentially a spell effect where he's teleporting from one place to another. One is recreating a Discord feature within the software itself, and I appreciate, I hope that you can appreciate that there's some movement here, despite the fact that the frame rate is very slow. But one of them is creating a feature called chat reactions, which you might be familiar with in Discord. And one of them is recreating a whole choose your own adventure engine within the platform. All different ways to enable new experiences of play, all of which didn't really exist, as far as I know, until a month ago. And I have even more examples of those. But before I do that, as I said, my name's Anthony. With me are two members of the League leadership who each brings a valuable and unique experience to the League and have agreed to share their professional skills as external mentors. So Cody, if you could sound off.
Hi, my name's Cody Sandrowski. I founded the League originally. It's now since grown to just several thousand people. I have recently started working at Foundry Gaming directly as a developer. So I'm helping to build the core features and APIs that people extend and build awesome features like this. And my job is largely to support these third-party developers so that they can build cool things.
And Ellen?
Hi, I'm Ellen, and I'm the line tamer / opt-in Scrum Master for the League. I am a certified Scrum Master, and I'm involved in a couple of other capacities around the Foundry community as well.
And my role for this initiative will be head facilitator, just making sure any students that do choose to get involved get the resources they need to have a successful project. And you can ask any of the three of us for advice. I have just dropped 2 links in the Discord server, one of which is this slide deck, and the second is a 10-minute video showing what we do at the League. So we're not going to get a chance to do a deep dive into the platform, but you should get everything that you need from that video. And that's part of our presentation that we gave a month ago to the last cohort of RCOS students. And really all that you need to know right now is that if you like games like Dungeons and Dragons and you know some JavaScript, then you would be a great fit and you should get in contact with us. The best way to get involved is to stay connected. Oops. I'm trying to skip here. There we go. Is to stay connected with us. I'm on Discord. I'm in the RCOS Discord server. My email is on my GitHub page, which I'll show in just a second. And we'd love for you to ask questions in our own Discord community, mostly so that we're going to have a list, a curated list of ideas for you, a lot of which are projects that already have lots and lots of users. So that's like a great way to get started. We have a bunch of people who have help wanted on a few of their issues that we could get you in touch with. We have a couple others that because of a recent platform version change, there's a lot of breaking changes going from the last version to the next version. So you could get involved in that. Lots of different opportunities, and you can come up with your own idea. So while it's recommended that you select from the curated list, if you have an amazing idea, that's great too. Either one of those is going to get you a free ForgeVTT license should you not already have one, and eligible for free cloud hosting provided by the ForgeVTT, as previously mentioned. So we hope that you'll be able to get involved, lean on our community as a resource. And let's see if there's anything I missed. I think that's it. So here's that last slide. Again, the slides are in the Discord, and if you have any questions, you can type them in the WebEx chat as well. But thank you very much.
So thank you so much, Anthony. And now we will circle back really quickly to Open Energy Dashboard. Third time's a charm. Let's get this going.
All right. Are you seeing my slides?
I see a slide.
You see a slide. Let me see if it's the right slides. Sorry. Are you seeing my first slide that says Open Energy Dashboard? Okay, I hope so.
Yes.
So I'm Steve. I oversee the Open Energy Dashboard project. It's a humanitarian project. We're trying to do a social good. In this case, we're working on sustainability. I know I've told the first slide is reused, so I won't go through this busy slide too much. Did I change slides now or not? Hello? Did I change slides or not?
Still seeing the first slide.
Let me try this. I'm trying to figure out which virtual screen. Do you see my slides now, or?
That's the presenter view.
It will not show my other screen. Hold on one second. I'm going to do something dramatic here. Do you see it now?
Oh,
Yeah,
WebEx.
now it's gone.
It disconnected on me. Hold on. Let me try again. I'm trying to get this to work. It really doesn't want to do this. I don't understand why. WebEx does not like me at all. Are you seeing different screens right now, or?
I'm just looking at your face right now.
Yep.
My face. I am trying to get WebEx to come back. So WebEx is showing me this. Are you seeing my slides or no? You're not.
No, not yet.
Steve, what we may do is, if you want, I'll send you a message with my email inside of it. And if you send them over to me, I'll circle back to you later on and I'll present on my end.
Okay. I also dropped them in the pitch already.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah,
So,
if they're in the
I mean, in the slide. They're in the slide channel. They're in the slide channel.
If they're in there, then I can grab them and just add them directly to this presentation.
Okay.
I'll just do that.
Okay. Sorry about this.
No worries
at all. I'll advance the next one, and we'll double back to you right after Nia gets those in there.
Okay.
Okay, let's see, where are we? Okay, so now we're going to start looking at some different projects coming to us from IBM, starting with ART, Adversarial Robustness Toolbox. Beat, are you here?
Yes, hello to everybody. I'm opening and sharing the slide deck.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, it's still loading.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I'm on the way.
We can't see anything yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think okay, good.
There we go.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So welcome to my page. I'm the maintainer. My name is Beat Büsser. I'm a researcher at IBM Research, and I'm the maintainer of the Adversarial Robustness Toolbox, which focuses on evasion, poisoning, extraction, and inference. And what that means, I want to pitch you and convince you to contribute to this project. Real threats exist against machine learning pipelines. So these are machine learning models trained on training data, are exposed to different kinds of adversarial threats where an adversary can try to influence this machine learning pipeline in ways where it was not intended to by the creator of this machine learning pipeline. And ART, the Adversarial Robustness Toolbox, the project that I'm pitching, is covering 4 different threats. So that's evasion, where you try to modify the input to influence the output of the model. Poisoning, where you try to make modifications to the training data to add backdoors, for example, to the machine learning model to exploit later. Extraction is stealing the whole model just by querying it. And inference is trying to learn something about the training data by just having access to the trained machine learning model. That's very, very important in the privacy space. These are really real-world threats. So we see an increasing and even faster and faster increasing number of real exploits of these threats. So, for example, people are able to influence self-driving cars, causing them to emergency stops, accelerate, or change lanes, for example. But we also have seen attacks on malware classification models, attacks on models used in hospitals that have been trained on sensitive data, etc. So it's really a growing importance. Now, ART, we are on GitHub in the Trusted AI workspace, so you can find us there. We are currently just about close to 2,300 stars and still growing. So if you have a chance and like us, please give us a star. In general, ART is, we like to see us as a Python library for machine learning security. And as the name says, it's a toolbox. And the aim is to provide tools to developers and researchers to enable them to evaluate and defend their machine learning models and applications before they are deploying them. ART is supporting all the popular machine learning frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, and scikit-learn, and many others. And we are really open to all kinds of tasks. We started initially with image classification, but then we also expanded to object detection, ASR, etc. And we also work with, in addition to images, with tables, audio, video. So we are really trying to cover all applications of machine learning. Now, the current roadmap is we are currently in version 1.6. Next month, we are planning to release ART 1.7. And I'm just highlighting a few things that will be will be released with ART 1.7. The most prominent that I want to highlight here is an attack called over-the-air flickering attack, which is an attack that makes modification to the frames of a video and then completely disables the classification of these videos with neural networks. And this is a contribution from RCOS, from a team from the spring semester. So 4 students have been working with me over the spring semester to implement and contribute this attack to ART. And it will be released next month with ART 1.7. As you see, we have a lot of other contributions from IBM and then also external contributors. Our next release will be ART 1.8 and scheduled for September 2021. So if you decide to make a contribution as part of the RCOS semester course, then that is probably the goal that you can make a contribution to Art 1.8. And our general goals are always stay up to date with state-of-the-art attacks and defenses, develop new notebooks demonstrating use cases, especially in cybersecurity, forensics, etc. Develop support for new tasks. We are still looking for somebody who's interested to look at regression or reinforcement learning, and also general improvements in performance and usability. But we are also very open to new ideas and goals all the time. So with that, thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you on Discord.
Awesome, thank you so much. Nia, are we all set up with Steve's slides?
I copy and pasted them, so it should work.
Okay, let me see if I can see those. There we are. Okay, so Steve, if I will present and you just tell me when you want me to advance, if that's okay.
Thank you, and sorry.
Oh, no worries at all.
Okay, so I'll try and go quickly since I already burned some time here. Why don't we just go to the next slide?
Sure.
So I thought the easiest way to see what OED does is to sort of look at it. This is a line graph we do just for fun. I put names of buildings at RPI, and you can see it shows over about a 3-year period energy usage on a daily basis. And you can see interesting things like there are dips there, and if you look, they generally correspond to when the university was on break. So this isn't your data, but could have been if we hooked up to you. And we have a fancy graphics package that's hovering and zooming and scrolling. So next slide, please. And then I dropped in the campus map of RPI, just told them the GPS coordinates of a few of your buildings, and the circle size corresponds to the average daily usage. So the bigger the circle, the more energy. So we have different ways of displaying and analyzing data to help people understand how they're using resources. And also we have comparison graphs to tell you, are you improving over time and things of this nature. So we have a number of ways to do this to help people and to support the sustainability community and institutions to show their data. So next slide, please. This is our second semester with RCOS. We did it last semester. 4 students worked. I'm just happy to tell you that all students made multiple pull requests and had new code and features added to OED. So everyone was successful. Louis Liu, who's in the arch right now, but unfortunately has a class right now, can't talk with you, but gave some contact information. You're welcome to talk to Louis or any previous student to get their perspective on working with the project. So next slide, please. To give you an idea of the technologies, I've separated into different parts, and when you work on OED, you can concentrate on certain technologies if you would like, or certain aspects. So on the back end, we have JavaScript and promises, and we use Postgres as our database, and use PG promise interface between the database and the code. On the front end, we use TypeScript, again, promises. We use React and Redux, very common displaying stuff and managing. And we use a fancy graphics package called Plotly. We do testing with Chai and Mocha. We have a whole bunch of other technologies. Probably to start up, the most important one to know is we do use Docker, which means you can install it on Windows, Mac, or Linux, whatever you want as a developer, and run OED. So next slide, please. I work with each student that works in OED. I should mention we are an academic project, which means we actually, part of our mission is to work with students and help them through that process. So we expect you to learn while you're working with us. So generally students start with simpler tasks where they're doing a basic bug fix and modifying some code to go, then they go to more complex things where they're modifying larger parts of the code, maybe on the front end or back end, to finally getting to actually implementing new features where they might be adding things to Redux and React or the back end in the database to do things. And then this second half of the year, our big thing is we currently support electricity, but we're moving to all types of resources. And so we're going to bring in a unit package and really change everything up, and people can be involved in that process too. I don't know if there's a next slide, or actually, can you go back to the first one really, if it's possible? Sorry, I had links, but I don't want to try and, okay. So just to talk about, I meet with each student that works with OED for 30 to 90 minutes every week, depending on what you need, the support you need. I'm available by email. I've been on the RCOS Discord for that. We also have developer pages that tell you how to get started, how to install, how to do PRs, and what's the layout of our code to help you through that process. Most people who are in Arch have finished their second year in computer science. You should be more than ready to work on this project. We are JavaScript based, so you either have a choice of knowing that or learning it fairly quickly at the start of the project, which we would support. And if you want more information, we're on GitHub. We have a web page that has information about the project, help pages, and the developer pages. You can also email me or message me on Discord. So thank you. I look forward to working with any of you that would be interested.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. Worth the wait. Really cool project. Jumping back over to our IBM projects. Let me see. We just did art, and now we're going to do open data science for all. It's like, Andre, are you around?
Yes, I'm around. I'm just sharing my screen.
Perfect. Oh, and I'll say I'm going to start giving a 4-minute warning if we start to hit 4 minutes, just to make sure that we can get everybody in today.
Thanks very much. So my name is Andre de Waal. I work at IBM Data and AI Experts Labs, and I'm the chairperson of an open education project called Open Data Science for All, but this is actually run as an open source software project, and it's hosted on GitHub. So there's the link to our GitHub page. Please go there and you could see the full extent of the project. So I just have one slide and I'll talk through the slide in the next 3 minutes or so. So as I said, this is an open education project. The goal of the project is to provide building blocks to universities and faculties all over the world that want to build data science programs. So we had the initial set of modules or lessons built for us by 2 professors at the University of Pennsylvania with a couple of their PhD students, and it was based on a big data specialization at a master's level. We launched the project with the help of the Linux Foundation that provides the infrastructure governance, but it was initiated by IBM, and the goal is to accelerate the development of data science programs at academics worldwide. Currently, we have 15 modules or lessons available. Each lesson is a set of PowerPoint slides with instructor notes and a Jupyter notebook illustrating in a practical way what was discussed in the slides. We cover the whole spectrum of data science from an overview to data wrangling and integration, exploratory data analysis, machine learning, and then we also have Apache Spark with distributed processing modules. So we would love to have you help us to grow the community around this project and also to contribute to this project. So on the right-hand side, I have ideas of where you can contribute, but I'm open to suggestions if you would like to do something very specific as well. So obviously, there are lots of new developments in data science, for instance, convolutional neural networks and in deep learning. It would be great if you could contribute modules, PowerPoint slide decks, as well as Jupyter notebooks, new topics. Also create use cases. COVID is a hot topic. There are other topics as well that we can explore for you to create the use case. Basically going through the whole data science flow and put it in one slide deck and one use case for other faculty and students to use. Currently, we only host content in English, but we would like to branch out, especially to South America and Europe and other parts of the world. So translation of the modules to different languages is an option if you're fluent in one of these other languages. Translation of the Jupyter notebooks from Python to R. Currently, we're focusing on Python as that seems to be the predominant language, but translating these notebooks to R, I think would be a great exercise. Also, we just currently host the set of PowerPoint slides and the Jupyter notebooks, but we don't have recordings, videos of the lessons. So if you think you have a great personality and you would like to record some of the modules, that would be fantastic as well. You can also do some other edits or contributions. We have the option of building a MOOC with the Linux Foundation on edX, but that's quite a bit of work. I don't know if that's doable in the time allowed. So we have the funding, we have everything, we just don't have the manpower to do that. And then you could be associated with one of these open source massively open online courses. Also community building, very important for us, grow the community to get contributors and users of the content. So open education project, if you love education, great project to work on, but it's run as an open source software project. Also on GitHub, pull requests, everything that you've heard, everything is done that way. So you'll learn a lot about open source software, how projects are handled, but a new spin on it, putting an open education spin on it, and content in data science. So if you would like to contact me, there's my email address, andre.dewaal@ibm.com, and we would love to have a couple of students help us grow the community and grow this project. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's get this. Perfect. So next up, we have Open Horizon. Glenn, are you here?
I am. Let's see if I can share my screen without trouble. I also have a Mac, but it WebEx work well. Is that okay? You have my slide?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm here to talk about Open Horizon. It's a containerized application management platform for real edge devices. So it's a decentralized approach, which is different from how the big cloud players tend to have very centralized approaches to this. And we accomplish that with fully autonomous agents running on each of these nodes. And, oh, wrong context. There we are. So I guess what you have to decide is where do you want to invest your talent? You're just at the starting line. Which tech is going to change your world most significantly? What are your top 3 guesses? That's the way I like to think about it. For me, the top 3 that I'm excited about right now are quantum computing, machine learning, and edge computing. And quantum, if you haven't tried IBM's Qiskit, it's a free simulator, and it also enables you to submit jobs to real quantum computers for absolutely no charge at all. And I play with that. I've got a Qiskit simulator beside me here. But practical quantum computing, it's probably still several years out, maybe 3. And the size of the opportunity seems unclear to me. I think there might be a relatively small number of people who get to actually do the work on these very expensive machines. So that leaves me with ML and Edge, and these are both the focus of our Open Horizon project. And you know, I'm sure you've heard lots about IoT over the last decade or so, but it's really changing and becoming edge computing. The edge machines themselves are more powerful, they're smart, and they do things locally, just pump data to the cloud like the IoT environment used to. So what kinds of things? Drones, cars, power poles, voice assistants, smart cameras. ML and AI inferencing is happening at every conceivable edge now. You can buy a device for only a few dollars, $3, $4, $5, that's capable of running a neural network model on it and doing really interesting things. And huge growth is forecast in this area for many years to come, billions and billions of devices. So one example that I like to play with is the NVIDIA Jetson product line, and their Jetson Nano 2 gigabyte only costs $60 US, and I can reliably run visual detection algorithms on that machine from 4 different high-def video streams at the same time at a high frame rate. Or to my personal project that does that. But this is one of the kinds of projects that we deploy using Open Horizon, and we would love to have more examples made by you. So come play with us. Let's make the edge smarter. Let's help ensure security and privacy for the users on the edge, and let's decentralize your future. And I just want to comment, you know, we are a very opening community, very diverse community, and we want to work with everyone. You know, whatever you have to offer, whatever background you have, we value diversity greatly in our team. Even the edge devices themselves, we value diversity in many different architectures are supported. Very, very small devices are supported. So Open Horizon, it's part of the Linux Foundation Edge project. And we'd love you to come and contribute your ideas. And, it's a fun project. We're all, I think everybody involved in the project is, they have lots of these cool devices hanging around their houses that they use for various things. And, you can jump in and play with us too. So just a final pitch about open source in general. Unlike your corporate projects or your school projects, your open source work is public and it's permanent. So it's a great way to build personal eminence, and to join a project that has high visibility in the corporate world is great for your resume. If you'd like to reach out and talk to me, I put this in the WebEx chat a moment ago, but it's glendarling@us.ibm.com, or if you want to join the LFEdge Slack, it's lfedge.slack.com, and I'm Mosquito there. And we're on GitHub. Those are my personal GitHub links, but Open Horizon is also on GitHub, and we'd love to have you come and join us.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Moving
My
right
pleasure.
along. Moving right along, we're on Machine Learning Exchange. Christian, are you here?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm trying to share my screen here. I'm hoping it's coming up.
Yep, we can see it.
Oh, fantastic. Now I just have to figure out if I can do this in SlideShare mode. All right. Does that work?
Yes.
It works just fine.
Fantastic. Okay, so my name is Christian Kadner. I'm a developer for IBM, and I work at the Center for Open Source Development for Data and AI. So all we do is open source as well. And open source, as just mentioned, is a great way to, to do your work and have your work be out there in the open. If people get to know you and the skills that you're building in open source, right? They are your resume. And if you're looking for a job in in data and AI, if you've worked on open source projects that are centered around that, people who want to hire you, they see what you did. So, it's open source is always a great way to build your resume. All right, I have to apologize. There was a window popping up. Is my screen still shared? Fantastic. Okay, so let's get right to it. So if you're a little bit familiar with machine learning, you know that machine learning is a whole life cycle, right? So it's not just training a data model, but you need to have the data in the first place, right? That data needs to be curated, put into a nice data set. And typically, if you're a data scientist, you work with Jupyter notebooks, you develop your model, and then once you have a model, you have to deploy it somewhere, right? So this is just a part of the life cycle that is much more complex. But when you do this, you need to work with tools, and your machine learning models, they need to work on very capable machines because they're compute intensive. So typically, machine learning is done nowadays, using containerized platforms or platforms like Kubernetes, where your workload can be scaled up and scaled down, and you don't have to take care of all the nuts and bolts of that infrastructure. And machine learning lifecycle also, and usually involves teams that work on different aspects of that lifecycle. And so one of the increasingly popular tools to do the machine learning and work anywhere within that machine learning lifecycle is Kubernetes as your container platform, and Kubeflow pipelines, which allows you to build your machine learning models, to train them, do the data processing and the deployment in the end, all in steps and in components. Now, what has been missing, or what's just being developed, is frameworks or interchanges where people can reuse existing assets like data models, data sets, and then plug them into their machine learning lifecycle. Because oftentimes, what you want to work on in your in your day-to-day life as a data scientist, you have to do a lot of mundane things that typically you don't want to deal with. So if you work on Kubernetes, for example, you have to do things like create secrets, create persistent volume claims and all those things. And if you have to redevelop this, that takes a lot of resources away from what you're really interested in. So that's where we come in. The Machine Learning Exchange is a brand new project with the Linux Foundation Data and AI. And we're just getting off the ground. We just put it out on GitHub. And what we provide is a catalog of data assets. So we have machine learning pipelines, that do very simple things like, loading data sets, training a model, and in the end, they serve the model and you can use it for inferencing. We have a list of data sets, notebooks, and data models. And here's a slide that has a little bit of an architecture. I won't go too much into that, but typically, as a developer, you have an SDK, you work with your Jupyter notebooks as a data scientist, and then, you need to plug it into the bigger lifecycle. You need continuous integration and all of that. And so we have like a all-encompassing kind of framework that helps you do all that. As technologies that we're using, it's Kubeflow pipelines, as I mentioned before. We're using Tekton as the underlying orchestration engine, and we have integrations with KF Serving, DataShim, TensorFlow. Our data sets come from another IBM open source project called the Data Asset Exchange. Our data models come from the Model Asset Exchange, also an IBM open source project, and our model metadata that is provided by or adheres to the ML spec open source schema. Here's just a quick screen showing that our project UI. So when you use the ML Exchange and you go through the catalog, you find a pipeline or a model, you can see what the model's like. You have some metadata that tells you what parameters it has, and you can run it on Kubeflow pipelines. And then you can see how the training went. You can see log messages and things like that. Same for data models and data sets. I'll skip through to another integration slide, some architecture, screen cap that if you want to look into that. So if any of these technologies are something that you've worked on before, you're interested in, our project, might be something that you want to work on. I'll not go any deeper. We're looking for students who have some experience with machine learning, ideally have worked with Jupyter notebooks before, know Python well. If they've done some machine learning using some of the technology we're using, like Kubernetes or Kubeflow pipelines, even better. Our UI is written in React, so JavaScript skills are great if that's something that interests you. And everything happens in open source. So if you've worked with Git or GitHub before, all of that helps. If any of these things are totally new to you, our project would be one that you can learn and become more proficient in, and then you'd be more equipped for your future career in machine learning. I think that was my pitch. My contact should be in the box note. I have to apologize. Our slide deck is the first one we developed for this project. It's very new. I'll shrink it down to one slide and update it. So there's all the contact data is going to be there. The skills you have to have is going to be there. And a few project ideas. I've seen other slides are great doing that. I apologize. This one is a little hokey. It's more of a tech presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, let me share again. Okay, and so our next up is going to be Iterate. Iterate, are you here?
Yes, this is Sri here. Let me share. Okay, so are you able to see my screen?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, so hello everybody, my name is Srinivasan and I work at IBM Research. And I would like to talk about the Iterate project. I'm a maintainer for this project, and the project is all about AI-driven release engineering for Kubernetes applications and machine learning models. So what is this project about? If you're developing applications, or if you're developing machine learning models, if you're a developer or a service owner, and if you want to deploy these things in the real world, it's not just about the development anymore, right? So when you actually release it into the real world, you have to actually make sure it works, it's not failing, there are no obvious errors, and it's not taking forever to respond to requests. In a sense, it's satisfying the kind of guarantees that you wanted to satisfy. So this is a basic type of validation that you would like to do for your applications when you release it to the real world. And the second type of testing that you would like to do when you release applications in the real world is A/B and ABN type of tests, right? So you have multiple variants of an application, and you want to find a variant that actually performs best for your goal. For example, you want to maximize revenue for your company. You want to maximize user engagement for your website, and you have to test your versions and figure out which one is performing best. So Iterate is actually built to support these use cases, and it is primarily built to support these use cases for cloud applications, right? There are obviously A/B testing tools available for websites and apps, but if you want to do the same thing for Kubernetes applications, for Kubernetes machine learning models, things start getting fairly hairy and fairly difficult, and Iterate is conceived to simplify exactly this task. So let's jump into a few features that Iterate provides today. So already Iterate can provide features like A/B testing, ABN testing, conformance testing. Is the latency of your application satisfactory, error rate low? Chaos injection is becoming pretty popular for testing cloud applications. Iterate supports chaos injection also. And also under the covers, Iterate actually uses multi-arm bandit algorithms to do traffic shifting, right? Progressively roll out the best version of your application. So if you have developed 3 versions of a machine learning model, you want to find out which one is the best and progressively release the winning version of the best machine learning model version. You can use Iterate to do it, and there are under the covers, there are Bayesian estimation algorithms and multi-arm bandit algorithms that are doing the work in terms of identifying the best models and releasing them progressively. Okay, so circling back to the Iterate project. Iterate project is public. It's Apache v2 licensed, and there is an iterate.tools website where you can go to get a little bit more information about the project. And there is also a contributing section, so you can go take a look at a contributor's guide, and there are curated list of issues that you can start with, or you can propose interesting new issues of your choice if you want to start contributing. What I would like to emphasize is that this project is actually at the intersection of multiple interesting technologies and technology directions that includes cloud, Kubernetes service meshes like Istio, Kubernetes service meshes like Knative, machine learning service meshes like KF serving, and also Linkerd, other types of service meshes and ingresses. Iterate plays very well on the Kubernetes side with these technologies. Iterate also plays very well with metric databases. So things like Prometheus, New Relic, Elastic. So if you're interested in how to query metrics, how to use metrics for making data-driven decisions for release automation, Kubernetes plays well there also. And the third angle that Kubernetes plays very well with is the multi-arm bandit and the AI algorithms that are used for identifying the best versions and promoting them. So please take a look at the contributing section, and if you're interested, do join the Iterate Slack. I'm available there, and you can talk to other contributors when you join the Iterate Slack. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can. Perfect. And so next up, we have Luciano and Carla talking to us about Elira. What do you do here?
Hi. I'll be taking over for Luciano today. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool, thank you. Hi, my name is Carla Spadaro. I am an open source software developer at IBM Code8, Center for Open Source Data and AI Technologies. Luciano and I are committers at the Elira project, which is part of what we call the Jupyter ecosystem. Luciano is actually one of the creators of the project. So just to give you a bit of context, if if you've worked on data science project before, you might have heard of Jupyter Notebook. So it's a pretty nice tool for data storytelling, also very useful for presenting school projects, and it has become the most popular tool among data scientists and machine learning developers. Then Jupyter Lab is the next generation of the notebook with a new UI and is built to be extensible. So that's where Elara comes in as a set of various Jupyter Lab extensions. So it's built to help the AI and machine learning model development. So this is what you see when you launch Jupyter Lab in your browser. Highlighted here in the UI are the new features brought by Elara. So you have access to our new editors and also a few extensions populated on the sidebar. So let's talk about the main features quickly here. First, the AI Pipelines Editor is our most popular one. So it lets you convert multiple files into a workflow. So it supports notebooks, Python, and R scripts. You can either run those files individually as single node pipelines, or you can arrange them on a workflow using the pipeline editor. So each of these files can represent a different step in the data science process. So for example, one node could be a Python script where you fetch your data, the next a notebook where you clean your data, and so on. Since workflows can get very complicated and require a lot of resources to run them, you can also customize your pipeline properties and deploy them either locally or in Kubeflow or Apache Airflow remote environments. So if you're interested in Kubernetes or pipeline orchestrators we support, this is a good feature for you to work on. Then next, we also extend Jupyter Lab File Editor into a Python and R script editors. So they are also integrated with a third-party extension, the Jupyter Lab LSP, which stands for Language Server Protocol, and it brings features like an IDE, like experience, like auto completions, code suggestions, etc. You can execute the scripts using local kernels or cloud-based ones. So as I mentioned, so our editor is actually the most recent feature we have, and there's a lot of opportunity for improvements here, and you can get to learn about kernels, for example. Then code snippets is another extension we have. You can create and store reusable code snippets that can be used in notebooks or any editor you're working on Jupyter Lab. Then we also have Git integration with the Jupyter Lab Git extension, and makes it easy to collaborate with on any Git repository, all within Jupyter Lab's UI.
4-minute warning.
Okay, so this is our GitHub page. It has a lot of information, including how to contribute. You can look at the open issues and feature by these tags. We have the example here. For example, by categories you're interested, like for example, front end or back end, or by packages like code snippets or pipeline editor. So our backend, we use Python, and for the UI side, we use TypeScript and React. So, and also feel free to join us at our weekly community meetings. More information about it is on GitHub, and we're also on Gitter. So yeah, we are in close contact with other projects like Jupyter Lab, Kubeflow. So there is a wide variety of areas you can work on. And contributing to this project, you can help build a network in the Jupyter community, which is really good and can really stand out in your resume. So yeah, please reach out if you're interested in contributing to Elara. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Carla. So next up, we have Call for Code. Daniel, are you here?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. All right. And do you see the slides?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful. WebEx is cooperating today. Great. Well, thanks again. I'm happy to present Call for Code, which is something we shared earlier in this year, and we had some students contribute to. So presenting it again, if you had a chance to look at it before, hopefully take a second look. But for those who are new to it, very excited to see some potential contributions. So Call for Code is a multi-year initiative that we've had since 2018, launched actually about 3 years ago this week. It's got a global competition focused on taking on some of the world's greatest challenges in partnership with the United Nations, the Linux Foundation, and David Clark Cause, with IBM as kind of the key technical driver behind it. What sets it apart is that it's not just a competition where code and ideas are generated, but the top things that come out of the competition each year we nurture as open source projects, and we hope that they go from really that great potential idea that won the competition, then through an open source project with contributors around the world to ensure that it's delivering on its promise. We've had folks from around the world take part, so the community is a great way to meet others who are like-minded, taking on humanitarian issues, building their open source skills, and in general, expanding their networks. We've had a lot of prompts over the years, focused originally around disasters, disaster preparedness and response. In the last 2 years, we focused more on climate change, the cause of many of those disaster issues, and with a focus on hunger and clean water and responsible production. There's lots of great stories in the Call for Code world and existing projects out there that hopefully inspire you, that not only cover natural disasters, but also took on the social and business aspects of the pandemic and racial justice as well. So I'll get into a few of those projects you can contribute to in a second. I mentioned that the projects there, it's a competition, but we want to ensure that they live on. So we work with the project teams to incubate them, bring in new developers, connect them with other partners, and in general, expand out their communities. And since we have a great connection with the Linux Foundation, you can see a lot of the projects officially already hosted at the Linux Foundation to take part in. So they've got robust communities with existing contribution guidelines. And we do have many more that are in various stages of that incubation model that you can take a look at. So there are top level projects in the Call for Code umbrella, as well as lots of interesting things. And there's actually 2 more projects being released in the next few weeks that may be of interest to you as well. So just looking at the official top level ones, they cover all sorts of skills: data science, IoT, front end, React, AI, mobile, including earthquake early warning system. We just had this one announced that we're deploying in Puerto Rico by President Clinton earlier this week, which is great to see. So that's a very robust community. Cluster duck protocols, emergency mesh networks with long range radio, LoRa. There's visual recognition in DroneAid. There's collaboration and video recording for distributed choirs with Rendomatic. Liquid Prep focuses on agricultural solutions, so using information about soil to know what sort of water recommendations to provide. And we have a suite of 7 Call for Code for Racial Justice projects, all taking on various issues around diverse representation, legislation, and judicial reform. So lots of different types of projects, all using different types of technology. And we also, on the IBM developer side, have a set of tutorials around how you can get familiarized with these projects. If you want to use them yourself or contribute back to them or just learn about them, build some skills on what they're using, we've got resources there for you. And that includes the racial justice projects have a dedicated mini site specifically for them because there's many solutions there. If you dive into the GitHub repos, you'll see that many of the issues already tagged good first issue. So if you're looking to just quickly get involved or understand what's involved, those are great ones to look at, and just generally improving it in any potential way before you even dive into the technology is most welcome. And just finally, we do have another Call for Code going on this year. So if you're interested in building skills there, and just looking at that competition, there's lots of great ways to build skills there and learn about making the next big open source project. So with that, I'll hand it back, and thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, and so that's going to bring us to some of our projects that are internal to right here at RPI inside of RCOS. And so going forward, we have a few more to get through. So if we can try to keep it within 3 or 4 minutes, that'll make sure that we're all finished in time and we can let you out right on time. So next up is social. Tiffany, are you here to present? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, moving right along, we'll circle back if Tiffany shows up. Smart Rider is next. Ethan, are you here?
Yep. One second. All right. My screen visible?
Yep.
All right, cool. So yeah, I'm the project manager for SmartWriter. We've been in RCOS project since spring of 2020, so about 3 semesters. And our goal is to become the all-in-one RPI transportation app. So we are cross-platform, so iOS, Android, and hopefully web as well, made with Google's Flutter framework and Firebase. So the idea is that be able to call safe rides like an Uber, look at the bus and shuttle schedules with search features, and then also display a map of vehicles, stops, vehicles, routes, and stops, all within the same app. So I have some different screenshots from within the app. So our semester goals right now for the summer are to complete the safe ride development, which we just started working on last semester. And then also add some quality of life improvements, so optimization, adding like enhanced features like better querying for different bus stops. And then most importantly, we really want to test this app over the summer, sort of like a quick beta test so that we can launch in fall 2021. So what we're looking for right now are devs with Flutter and mobile experience. Ideally, Flutter experience. We're only looking for a couple new members, and then ideally a lot of returning members as well. Yeah, so my contact information is here at the top. You can most likely @me on Discord. We use an external Discord server for all of our communications, so I'll just end up inviting you to that, and our GitHub is also here. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next presentation, we have BrokerBot. Jack, are you around? A second. Jack, are you here? It's not.
Hi. I was wondering if I could have like a 2-minute wait real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll double right back
Yeah,
to
I'm
you.
just trying to get something ready.
Yep, no worries.
Thank you.
Yep. TutorBase is next then. Jason, are you here? Jason Wynn? Gonna get through these faster than I thought. NASFAC, is James here?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, let me unshare real quick. There we go.
Okay, so hi, my name's James Crovo. My project's called NASFAC. It's a financial market simulation game based on the performance of select YouTube channels. The prices are affected in real time by market demand, and each day they're adjusted towards a fundamental value that we calculate based on various metrics such as the channel growth and view count and subscribers. So the goal of the game is to profit by doing due diligence on the channels, keeping up to date with them, seeing which ones are growing and which ones are performing well, and knowing which coins are overvalued, undervalued, and making smart trades. So this summer, my goals are to add shorting, options trading, and auctions to the website, and as well as a bunch of like quality of life features that have been requested by users. The stack that it uses is both the front and the back end are written in TypeScript. The back uses Express, Node, Postgres, Redis, Nginx. And then the front end uses React and Redux and SCSS. So if you're interested, the kind of developers I'm looking for are like pretty experienced, full stack, familiar with using RESTful APIs, WebSockets, React, Node, things like that. So if you're interested, that's my email, krovoj@rpi.edu, and my Discord. You can find the channel in the server. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I just contacted Tiffany from social. She's not available. She'll go Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good. We'll move on to Poll Buddy then, and I'll circle back to the other two that we skipped at the end to see if they're around and set up. So next up, is Poll Buddy. Hunter, are you here?
I am.
Perfect.
Let's see if WebEx cooperates for me today. Oh, apparently your closing screen makes my box go away. But all right, so theoretically we should have screen sharing. Yes.
Yeah, I can see it.
Excellent. All right, so for anyone who's somewhat newish to RCOS, you probably haven't heard of PullBuddy. For everyone who has been RCOS before in the last 2 years, hopefully this isn't too redundant for you, but basically PullBuddy is a alternative to iClickers. So if you've ever used iClickers in something like data structures or some of the other CS classes, they're basically tools to get some input from students, and we're looking to make a more modern version. So our goals are to make it cheaper, easier to use, more powerful, and more fun. So where we're at right now is that we've got most of the front end done and we have a lot of the back end done, and we're currently working on getting those two to work together a little bit more. So we could definitely use some help there, as well as through adding some more documentation. So that way everyone can more easily see what's going on. But we definitely made a lot of strides on that just recently. So if you're new to development in general, we are generally very beginner friendly. So we can definitely help you get started with some HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, all that fun stuff. So if you're interested, you can contact me at the email on the bottom right. You can check out our repos as well, or the app on the live version if you want to see what we got so far. So yeah, any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Perfect. So next up we have temperature. I'm probably mispronouncing that. Sheldon, are you around? Sheldon Jackson, temperature?
Looks like temperature also wants to go Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good. And then Yax. Is Yax here today, Nicholas?
Hello? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, give me 1 second. Is everything showing up?
Yes.
All right, hi. I'm Nick, and I'm presenting Yax. As the only Yax developer who's taking RCOS during Arch, it kind of fell on me to present since our regular project lead is not in Arch, but so here I am. So as most of you know, Yax is a course scheduler meant to help schedule courses better than and visualize it better than SIS. We use Python and JavaScript as our stack mainly, and you should consider joining if you want to work on a larger project and with more team members. It's just me in person this semester, but on the Yaks Discord, there are plenty of people who are able to help out. We welcome developers of any experience, so even if you're relatively less experienced, we can help you out. And yeah, so right now we're working on improving Yaks, like better UI, and more features. And we have plans to expand Yaks past RPI and try to get other schools to use Yaks. So if you have any questions, feel free to DM me, email me, and I'll stick the link to the Yaks Discord in the RCOS Discord channel. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So now we'll circle back around and see if there's anybody who came back. Now you can give me a hand in remembering who we've got. Social, we said, is going to present later. We saw Smart Rider, BrokerBot. Did we see BrokerBot? Was BrokerBot? There's.
No, you did not.
Ah, perfect.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm the project lead for BrokerBot. Let me share it real quick. You see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. So, as I said before, my name's Jack. I'm project lead for BrokerBot. BrokerBot is an algorithmic trading engine allowing users to create their own algorithmic trading strategies and execute them in parallel across multiple different exchanges, such as stocks, cryptos, ETFs, anything you can really name, even the commodities market. We're creating an app that not only will allow for algorithmic trading of our own, so we can create our own strategies and hopefully establish passive income, but also create a app that other users could interact with and start constructing their own portfolios and start learning how to invest and how to invest smart. So our goal, we were started last semester, and in that time we got a lot of the backend fleshed out and working using a bunch of different stock APIs such as alpacas or interactive brokers and a few others. And this semester we're focusing more so on the front end and creating a connection to crypto markets through the Binance API. So we would prefer, our stack mainly deals with Python. Our backend is written in Python, and we will be developing a web app for this using the Django web app framework, which is also written in Python. A lot of the work that we've done with Python involves the WebSockets library and multiprocessing libraries, because we deal a lot with multi-threading and multiprocessing, being that we want our users to be able to execute however many strategies they want all at the same time and just constantly have it being run during market hours. So if you're familiar with Python or with web apps, or this semester we're also moving into the front end. So if you have experience in JavaScript or React or SQLite or Postgres SQL, any of these would be a welcome addition to our team. We're going to be having a lot of different roles this semester, both front end, back end, and then obviously like actually like developing the strategies and like the investing strategies that will actually produce an edge or an alpha. So we are open to developers with any experience, but we prefer that applicants have experience with Python, web app design, front end design, parallel programming, or just a general interest in finance, economics, and investing. If you're interested in joining BrokerBot, please email me at mansfj@rpi.edu or contact me on Discord with I am Jack M number 3027. Thank you guys.
Thank you, BrokerBot. If I'm correct, I think that's all of our pitches for today.
I believe so. Did Jason say he wanted to go later? Because we didn't get tutor base, correct? We ended up skipping by that. Jason's not here?
We did not, and I've not heard from Jason. I will reach out to him and see.
Well, we can take note of that and pitch that on
Yeah.
Tuesday. And I think that was the only other one that we skipped, was it? Or was it temperature too? We were going to come back to later, I believe.
Temperature mentioned in chat that they wanted to go Tuesday.
Perfect. Then yeah, I think we got all the other ones. So now Professor Goldschmidt said he might come back for the end here. So he's still around.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for walking through all that. And thank you all for presenting all your projects. Looking forward to more on Tuesday. There's at least one other somewhat external project within RPI, but having to do with the mill and supply chains. AI and ML is in the mix there, so there's at least one additional pitch we'll have on Tuesday. But yeah, other than that, I guess we are basically a wrap for today. So I'll stop the recording shortly. This recording will be out there. I'll get the WebEx URL and so on to, onto the Discord server on one of the channels. I'll figure out which one, maybe a few. And, feel free to definitely re-watch some of these to get another, refresher as to which projects are, looking for members and so on. But other than that, yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. I think that is it. So thank you all. Have a great long weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
See you, everyone.
And a reminder to everyone, you can reach out to people on the project pairing channels on Discord. Those should all be set up. Reach out to me or, either of any of the other coordinators or faculty advisors if you have any questions. Thank you for coming.
All right. Enjoy, everyone. Thank you.